Boom, Watch fam! What is up, Watch fam, and welcome to episode 112 of Ask TNH. I am Christian from Theo Harris, and we'll do a quick wristwatch check before I jump into today's episode. So I am wearing a chronograph signed by Royce with a beautiful purple dial. I'm really into interesting dials on chronographs. To me, they kind of like, they bring some fun into the sport, real hardcore, like, sporty design. So that's it. That's what I'm wearing. It'll be available in the shop at theoandharris.com today. Actually, today we added 6 new watches to the shop, so be sure to check them out after this video. Let's get into today's conversation. Okay, so a couple of you guys asked me about the latest move by Jean-Claude Biver at the helm of Tag Heuer, and what I think about, I talk a lot about marketing on this show. I talk a lot about the watch industry and how it's communicating with its consumers, and how I think a lot of it is bad. Jaeger LeCoultre is trying to do a chat bot now, an automated answering system that kind of fell flat. They have an app out. Speak Marin is promoting Pierce Brosnan. There's so many people are doing these moves with marketing that I just don't agree with. So many companies are making these moves with marketing that we're all just talking about and thinking about. I happen to not agree with them, but today we're going to be talking about a different move, one made by someone who's very famous, not only just in watches, but in watch marketing. Jean-Claude Biver is a builder of brands. He's the guy that brought, I think, probably celebrity endorsements into the limelight. Maybe he wasn't the first person to do them, but he certainly is very, very famous for making his brands like Hublot very, popular in big circles, in very big, important, highly photographed, highly publicized circles. So I typically find that kind of marketing uninventive and just boring, and I don't really talk about it all that often. But this time, he's obviously it works because the guy's done very, very well. I do not contest that by any means. But this time, he made a slightly different move that I'm really, really interested in. So what Jean-Claude Biver did was he partnered with a young, massive artist at the moment. He's a graffiti artist called Alec Monopoly. If you don't know who he is, I'll tell you just very briefly. Alec Monopoly is a graffiti artist, started in New York, I believe. I could be wrong. But all he does, well, not all he does, I don't mean to trivialize it. He spray paints the most hysterically garish, he spray paints the most hysterically garish paintings and incorporates Mr. Monopoly. It's all about money and just blowing it and throwing it everywhere and having a blast, and about Wall Street, and it's all about money, just cash. This is the guy that wears a diamond pavé Royal Oak chronograph, covered in spray paint, so it's hysterical. His thing is paint and cash. So Jean-Claude Biver partnered with him, and I kind of want to give my thoughts on whether that was a success or a failure. First of all, I think it's really interesting that he's partnering with an artist like Alec Monopoly, not just primarily on the web, not just for Instagram, not just for posts, but in real life. I mean, he painted something like a 50-foot mural in the middle of Miami on a hotel to Tag Heuer. And it was, you'll see it, put a photo of it right here. It's Steve McQueen at the center. You have Mr. Monopoly throwing cash and a Tag Heuer symbol there. It's really interesting that someone, I thought it was hysterical seeing the photos. Someone, he's an old, Swiss dude. I mean, someone that looks like nothing like he'd be hanging out with Alec Monopoly or any of the people Alec Monopoly hangs out with in Ibiza and God knows where. But Jean-Claude Biver puts himself there. This is an ultimate example of understanding the climate that you're in and not caring if you fit or not, but making yourself fit, because he does. In this, in those photos, it was all the young, kind of like badass, really obviously very wealthy, Rolls-Royce driving, spray painting, like just maniac young people, and then this old, kind of like stocky Swiss dude that could be their grandfather, and he's keeping up. He did the whole spray paint thing. He put the bandana on like Alec Monopoly does, and to me, it just shows how even, I guess, no matter what time it is, no matter if it's 1984 and you're and he's advertising for Blancpain, or it's right now, certain people are resilient, and he is. And I think that it's just it's such a testament to Jean-Claude Beaver that he's working with Alec Monopoly, someone from a polar part of the universe. I don't think there's ever been a collaboration between watches and graffiti. Nonetheless, it's such a big scale. I mean, it's Tag Heuer. It's not like some bizarro, independent on Kickstarter. You're talking about like really legit, big brand. So, I mean, I personally give a huge, round of applause to Mr. Beaver on this one. What I think it will yield is, I mean, I think it's going to be successful. I think it's a successful campaign. It's not a one-time thing. Jean-Claude Beaver knows that. This is not going to sell all Tag Heuer watches, but it's this mentality. It's being open to work with the young, hip artists, being able to still communicate the same narrative of Heuer, racing history, things like that, but in different ways. Graffiti, a little bit more of an aggressive, kind of like funky, different style way. So it's the same endpoint, but how we're going to get there is different. And I think that if Heuer sticks to that in the next, not just 2 little installations, but they just keep doing it and they keep acting like that, they're going to do very well. Singular marketing campaigns don't make or break companies, not most of the time. It's the people at the helm, people that are really directing everything in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year game. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars here. They're not talking about, okay, hey, can we sell a couple of watches? They're looking to reinvent a company that has largely fallen flat, I believe, I would imagine financially, but like every other brand, but surely in the public's perception, Heuer at this point, it's not as great as it used to be, and people know it. And a lot of their watches have earned them a lot of flack. So it's Jean-Claude Beaver's job now, and I think he's taking it on to change everything. And I think that this deserves a big thumbs up. So that's it, guys. Those are my thoughts on Jean-Claude Beaver and Alec Monopoly. Thank you guys for watching, and check out the watch shop at theoandharris.com.